personal pocket coaching. People are joining it, signing up for it a lot faster than I thought, and a lot more volume than I thought we were going to. I mean, it's just, we only have one product here, right? Every company has a product, and we only have one. That's the student. So I asked myself, just like I was asking then, so what am I trying to teach? Am I trying to teach them to read a book? Am I trying to teach them how to take a test? Am I trying to teach them how to recite some formula? No, I'm trying to teach them to be able to program right next to me. That's the product that I want to put out. And if I'm not putting that product out, these students are coming to me saying, hey, make me a professional developer, make me a professional coder, app creator, whatever you want to call that. Make me a professional at it. And I'm going to teach them how to read a book? No. So I didn't use a book. And I taught what I learned out there in the world. I taught how we did things out in the world. And I try to present that. And sure, I might come in here with a little diagram, to teach from, some kind of prop, but I'm not going to teach people how to read a book. At this point, you guys pay this big money. Go ahead.
Or in our case, what's central to our medium is not a book. In this case, it's an online video. You know, so what does that end up coming down to? We're not trying to create a bunch of students that are great at watching videos and being able to maybe just comprehend something. No, it's not the end game. That's not the end goal.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Darren, because that was actually the empirical thing that you brought to me when you were talking to me about this. You said, Kurt, this was long before you started the accelerator program, long before you started this personal pocket coaching. You were saying, look, I got this YouTube channel out there and I put a lot of video content out there and I get a lot of people watching me. But he says, I don't feel like they're learning anything. I feel like they're just cutting and pasting code and they don't know why they're putting that in there. And so, and that was the thing, that was the empirical thing that we needed to try to answer. How do we change that? Because that's what makes a difference. It's similar to I'm teaching people how to read a book or I'm teaching people how to take a test. No. Darren, you wanted to teach people how to program right next to you. And so that was what we've been trying to answer. And I feel like that's what we've got going on here with this PPC. I call it PPC, personal pocket coaching. We've got it going on with Accelerator too. But this is about personal pocket coaching. And I actually had a student tell me last night, literally told me this last night, said that he's taking classes right now. And he's sitting out there in the classes and he already knows everything they're talking about. They're talking about everything that we talk about, that he's learned from you and I. And he said, I just sit back and I smile because he said, I already know this. And that's because you and I have been teaching in colleges. We know what you need to learn to be able to do this professionally. So if your goal is to do this at a professional level, then I'm just saying this is an opportunity because it's an opportunity for us and it's an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity for you to learn and it's an opportunity for us to teach in the way that we want to teach, the way we feel is important. And that's what I did at the college. I quickly, I didn't use a book and I came at them and I asked the department chairs, hey, can I teach this anyway? He said, sure. And by the end of that semester, there was a sucking sound that came from the daytime to the nighttime of students leaving and getting over there. And it was like, it was amazing. And so then I said, but this was just the beginning. I said, I got some other ideas. Go ahead. The department chairs were saying, go ahead, do whatever you want to do it. Because I was literally loading the classrooms up because people were wanting to learn the way we did things in the real world because they felt like in our class, I wasn't teaching them how to read a book. They were learning how to program right next to me. And in fact, you were one of my students. And in fact, you had a job programming right next to me.
Thanks to you, yeah.
And then you took that job and leveraged it into other jobs. And now look at where you're at now. You've become the expert that I believed you could be. I believed that you were going to be an expert. And here you are. And I feel that that's exactly what you're doing right now. You're trying to help people program right next to you. And there was a movement. The students came into my classes. I did a level 1, a level 2, a level 3 class. I didn't care if it was C++ I was teaching or Visual Basic. They were loading the classes. And I kind of feel like that's what's happening here. I feel like students are seeing this and they know how to get their needs met. They're seeing, hey, these guys are teaching something that I need. And now we talk about personal pocket coaching. This is the college, the one product that we're doing right now. And it gives us an opportunity to teach the way we want to teach, what we feel like is important that you need to know in this moment. That moment changes all the time. And I love the flexibility of this thing because every day we put out a video. And today, the thing that is important might not be the thing that's important tomorrow. So tomorrow we do another video of what's important.
Every day of the year.
What do you think about that, Darren?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts about that, Kurt. I think you hit the nail on the head. And that's actually what I would love to see. And essentially, we're talking about something that happened 25 years, a little over 25 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel old just saying that, by the way. but beyond that, could you imagine? You know, I'm almost 50 years old, and if I'm fortunate and blessed enough to still be around in 25 years, I would love to hear about. I mean, so you sowed a seed in me, you know,
yeah,
and I sort of reaped the harvest for my whole career, and you end up getting a lifelong friend. And I would imagine if we had things like Facebook and these social media platforms, that I would have been Facebook friends with these people. If I remember right, Facebook came out around 2005 to 2008, something like that. But if we had it back in 1998, 1999, I probably would have been friends with, I probably would have kept up. Maybe we would have created a Facebook group and sort of like, hey, what are you guys up to?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of apps are you building these days? You know,
I feel like that's what we're doing. I feel like that's what we're doing right now, right?
Yeah. So I'm imagining 25 years. So you just shared a story from one of our accelerator students. And he's probably one of our youngest accelerator students. And so I hope to see him in 25 years. And
yeah,
I don't know. I guess it's sort of, I've got 6 children, and it's just a very rewarding thing to see, you know, my children grow up, but also if you've helped somebody in a real way like this, like you helped me, you know, and like, wow, I had a you know, a hand to play in that. Sort of, you know, meeting your kindergarten or your first grade teacher or whatever from, you know, those people sort of stick with you your whole life. And you're like, I remember Mrs. Havenall or whatever in first grade, she'd always say blah 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 blah, and maybe that stuck with you. Well, for the past 25 years, I've had a little Kurt on my shoulder, and sometimes that little Kurt, and you, the real Kurt, those two Kurts have an argument because I'm giving voice to that little Kurt, and well, little Kurt says, well, that's not good code or whatever. But yeah, so I'm hoping that all of our accelerator students, they've got a little Kurt and a little Darren.
Yeah. You know, there's one thing I guess I love this stuff. I love programming. The thing I love maybe more than programming is teaching people to program, but even more than that, I love empowering people. I think empowering people is the big deal here. And I think that's what makes people bond together, is that empowerment. And that's what I strong for. Let's talk about personal pocket coaching though. So what is it? What is it, Darren? What is this personal pocket coaching?
Well, the word pocket in personal pocket coaching is meant to denote a pocket size or bite size content that you can consume when it's the time of the day to go sit on the toilet, or if you're writing with, that's not a good visual, is it, Kurt? No, I mean, we all live busy lives, don't we? in this age of smartphones and everything's connected. And when do you have time to sit down and listen to Kurt and Darren talk for 1 to 3 hours like we do on a Saturday morning or during one of our group calls, right? So why not every morning get a little bite-sized, pocket-size 11-minute video that you can watch and feel like you learned something that day? You move the ball forward on your PowerApps journey.
That's right.
Just a little bit that day.
That's
because
right.
you watch the whole thing and you pick something up from that. Every single day of the year. I'm talking Christmas Eve. I'm talking like every day.
Right. You were here. You were at my house Christmas and you were making pocket videos.
I was.
we were doing pocket videos. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So I'm going to bring this up. So I'm sitting in the hotel about right once I was done, I was going to go pick up some McDonald's breakfast and meet you at your house. And I'm sitting here and I used at the hotel, they had this color on the wall and it sort of cut it out, sort of like did a green screen, although the screen was not green behind me. And that's precisely what I did there. So you see, I looked a little different there. That's because I was using a little laptop webcam.
Looks good though. But that's the thing. And you know what I like about it, I love the fact that you said it moves the ball forward a little bit. Yeah. Every day, that's exactly what we try to do. I don't care. The big curse of our profession or our platform here is programming, the tech world. The big curse in the tech world is that you're always in the state of learning. You can't just relax. You got to stay on top of it, But that's also the blessing of it because you're never going to get stagnant, right? So every day the goal is to move that ball forward just a little bit more and a little bit more. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to progress this thing and go a little bit deeper every time. And also along the way, we are collecting a great reference. I've talked about this before and I can't talk about it enough. It's all about references. In my world as a programmer, for 100 years, it's all about knowing where my references are at. Where can I reach for when what book do I need to go grab if I need to know that function that I haven't used in 5 years, but I need it right now in this app that I'm creating. But I don't do it every day. I always tell you, Darren, we use 10% of the code 90% of the time. Of all the 100% of PowerApps functions, you use just 10% of them 90% of the time. And then the other 90% you use 10% of the time. So you don't use them very often. So you got to know where your reference book is so that you can look them up, And so I always say that to say programming isn't about being so smart that you know all the functions and the whole thing of the language. No, it's about knowing where your references are at. And so it's really important to build a good reference library. Now, back in the old days, it was books. You had to go to Barnes and Nobles. Remember, we used to say, I got to go buy a book. We got to go buy a book, And
I had to do that once a week.
Yeah, at least.
I had an addiction.
Yeah, me too. But now it's not about books. Do they even have books anymore? I don't even know. Do they even got books? They won't soon. I guarantee they ain't going to have them pretty soon. But this is our book now. So these are your books. This is your reference. You have a quick access to all these videos. Within a year, you're going to have 365 videos. And we are going to cover everything. Sometimes we're going to get into the fundamentals, the bits and pieces. Sometimes we're going to talk about some philosophical ways of looking at certain things when you're programming. Sometimes we're going to try to think about what's the proper mindset to be in when you're looking at this. Sometimes we might be talking about building an ERD. So we're going to be all over, but we're going to try to be balanced within that. And I think that's pretty cool. That reference library is so important, right?
Absolutely. And as you were talking, I was sort of illustrating your point. We can go in here and do a search on. So the one that we sent out today was about bugs. Okay. Well, what do we have here? Here's your references,
Ain't that something?
Creating a variable watch box. And you talk about some bugs in here. So I have the whole transcription of everything you said, Kurt, right below this variable watch box.
Isn't that great?
And in order to get at, I mean, can you imagine, Kurt, if we had back in the day, I remember my desk when I worked by you, with you, and I had my monitor, and those monitors were like 20-inch cube. It's a huge, it's huge, gee whiz. And then right there to the side of it were all my books. And the only way that I could find something in a book, I had to go I put like little tabs about all the different topics. Sides, if I needed to find something, it might take me 5 to 10 minutes to find a chapter out of one of those books I needed to use.
Yeah.
But in this case, you just go to school and type in a keyword and find probably, and you might go in and like see this thumbnail. I'm like, oh, I remember that video. Or the one that I'm looking for is this thing with all these weird looking bugs. So you're a developer. This is a hilarious AI generated thumbnail, by the way. This guy has got a red sword, okay, and he's got a shield, and his shield is just full of code, and he's fighting all these bugs around it.
That's wonderful.
So talk about your references. So over the course of a year, you have 365 items in here, and I do throw in some bonus, like these first 3 were bonuses. So we might actually turn out
about 400 of them in a year, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. I know that we've gone almost to like something like this, Kurt. We're probably close to 15 to 20 minutes on this video already. So right now we're looking to keep these pocket-sized videos. And I've always said 5 to 10 minutes. And I was thinking most of them would be 5 minutes. No, most of them are 11 and 12 minutes. So we're finding that to be really difficult because I guess we just like to talk. I don't know that I like to talk.
I just think that I have a lot to say about the subjects that we're working with, man. And I mean, I think that like today, right now, we're kind of having a conversation that's a little bit different, so you're going to have a little bit longer, But I guess I just want to talk about the value that you're getting with this. I hope that the people that are watching this are really going to consider that it's almost a must-have if you want a good reference for PowerApps and fundamental programming concepts. So
I recall us being told earlier this week by one of our students that he honestly feels that we're underselling our offerings. And I'm like, really? What?
That's okay though. I love doing it though, right? There's more to it than just the money, man.
Yeah, I mean, you're just not learning PowerApps here. What other types of advice? Well, you're getting software development advice, and
we've got a video coming up about talking about the rules of iteration, right? We're actually learning concepts here about programming, and so we're going to be teaching some very old concepts, but we're going to be teaching them in a very new way, and with the mindset of the product being you. You are the product. We want you to be able to program right next to us. We want you to be able to understand these concepts every bit as strong as we could, So I'm just really excited about this whole thing. I think that this actually is what actually creates a dynamic product, being you as a programmer, as a developer. This is going to enhance your career. You're going to be able to go in to having this reference. It's going to help you be able to go into these meetings and be the adult in the room and say, hey, no, I know this, and you're going to have the confidence. And in the middle of the night, when you're trying to figure out something that doesn't work, because that's programming.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to reach out to this thing and find the answer so that you go to bed.
I thought it was just something that I did. Lay awake at night and be thinking about the code or some problem I need to fix. But what you'll find is, I've heard you talk about it. I've heard our students talk about it. So it's like your brain has got a processor, a thread sitting back there working on the problem.
Yeah.
So it's sort of funny to hear these stories.
So have you got something that you want to bring up to a link or something so that people can get to this if they're interested in getting information?
That's a great suggestion here, Kurt. So let me get rid of this overlay here.
And did you want to talk about maybe some of the pricing on it so that people can kind of get an idea?
Yeah, I do. So so the link to get here, guys, the link is at the very top of the screen above that the PowerApps purple bar there, tinyurl.com/power platform community, and that will get you here. Okay. Now, it's actually at the top right now. Okay. So if I click on this, it's going to include all of the information. You see, I've got Napoleon Dynamite. He has some tater tots.
I love it.
And he's shoving them in his pocket. Why is he doing that? Because later he can consume it when he's got just a moment. He'll pop one in his mouth. Throughout the day, you might be waiting for a train. Are trains around anymore, Kurt? A train. Of course, there's trains, but I mean, there's not as common. Maybe
I also want to say that our videos are maybe a little bit less greasy than them tater tots too. At least I hope so.
Maybe when you're waiting for your Uber, you might be waiting a few minutes or something. You'll find all kinds of places in your day where you've got just 5 or 10 minutes, and this is something that you'll learn to have as an asset, throughout the year. So there's 2 ways to buy it. Now, no one has purchased the monthly plan.
Isn't that something?
What does that tell you? Huh?
Yeah.
So, the annual plan comes with a lot of bonuses. And even if it didn't include the bonuses, you get like a 10 or 15% discount. So you're paying for 10 months instead of 12 months. And then you get all these others. So you get the Jumpstart Kit. I've been selling that for $250 for quite some time now. And what's great about it is if you purchase it, you can get all the updates in the future. So as we develop more screens, put some more responsive features in there, we put some more images and some more, what should we say, screen templates in there. You're going to get those updates. You'll get my full ticketing system course. In the past, I've sold that for about $1,000. I think right now I have it for around 500. So you got 250, 500, and then boom, you got a half-hour tutoring session with Darren and Kurt. So we add all that. What do we get? We got like $1,000 worth of value just in the bonuses. Yeah. Okay, now, if you're an accelerator student, you get 75% off. But just with these bonuses, you get $1,000 worth of value. Now, how much is it? And what I had slated, like in my mind, what I was thinking was $100 a month. And what I've done was, I'm like, I'm for a limited time, I'm going to extend this 50% off offer for the new year. So this is still in effect. Now, maybe if you're watching this video months from now, it will be the $100 a month, and the annual will be, in fact, I think I do have the annual price in here, $894. Okay. Right now it's $447. So if the price has gone up to the $894, when you see this video, please don't be upset with me. It was $447 when we released this video. Okay.
Yeah.
And it goes over, there's the bonuses. And so this is quite the value, and quite a few people have purchased it and are enjoying the benefits. And down below, I sort of showed examples of a lot of the stuff that we have released. And so
I just want to say that, there's a lot of these days, especially on the net, but especially when if you're watching this in a sea of videos that are wanting you to buy something from them mostly. Right. And I know that this is yet another one of those, but to me, this is a different deal. This is like going to a class and having an instructor that's been sitting in there for 20, 30 years doing this thing. And then you got a couple of guys here like Darren and Kurt that do this stuff every day. We are programmers. We are developers. We actually just finished working on a big project just a month ago, working for a huge corporation. So we do this every day, and so it's practical. This is a practical reference. This isn't a textbook's reference. We do things differently than textbooks sometimes because we know what you run into oftentimes. So this is a little bit different. And I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people say that, but I think you can just take a look. I think you can just listen to our story and take a look at what we're offering and see that there's a big difference. So yeah. I look forward to teaching you guys. Go ahead, Darren.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of a young person? So I got 4 young. I've got a total of 6 kids, but 4 of them are between the age of 18 and 24, and not all kids really like school. I actually like to learn, didn't like school because I like to learn at my own pace. Doesn't mean I didn't want to be taught by anybody, but there are some people that thrive more in like a technical college or what do you call that? Like a hands-on technical school or
yep.
Not necessarily, learning things out of a book and passing tests, but and I think this is a step beyond that, where we, like you said, we're talking about, we're using examples from the real world and we're speaking from experience. A lot of times whenever I've learned from someone that is a teacher on a topic, they were teaching from, maybe they learned it from that book. I've worked for back then they were called Microsoft Certified Technical Education Centers. Now they're just called Microsoft Partners. But
understandably why too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a mouthful.
But even at the community college, you had full-time instructors, and how they learned it wasn't by being out in the field. They learned it from the book that they're using as the textbook, Yeah. So this is really it on steroids of that end of the spectrum, where we're going to teach you in a way. I'm speaking more on the lines of the accelerator program, but this is sort of for me, all these lines are blurred. We got the YouTube channel, got the PPC, we got this community, we got the accelerator, we got all these things, and I feel like it's we have several steps, so you can enjoy this content at any level that you feel like you want to benefit from it. Yep.
So in the end, I just look forward to be working with you, talking about you, Darren, and talking about the students, talking about all you guys that are getting ready to buy this thing. I look forward to working with you. I look forward to hearing what your thoughts are, and also. You guys drive the content. So if you guys need videos on certain topics, that's what we're going to work with, So I hurry up and get signed up in this thing, man. I want to start working with you guys. I'm excited.
And if you guys if any of you watching this video are not a part of this community, like, come on. Did you notice I went to this screen and there was one person has requested access by just a few minutes ago until now, another person is requesting to come in. And we're at 834. Maybe months from now, when people are watching this video, maybe it'll be, over 1,000, But if you haven't joined the community, please do.
Oh, and remember, people pay big money for this.
Guys, for some reason, YouTube thinks you're going to like this video next. Let's see if they're right. Or you can select this playlist, which I've selected for you based on the content you're currently watching. Guys, got to hurry. Click one of them. Otherwise, YouTube's going to autoplay some other video. Which you probably don't want. Thanks.